And welcome back. Good morning. It's post Thanksgiving. It's Black Friday, and I got to go to work in an hour. This is gonna be fun. Black Friday. I work in I don't think I ever mentioned to where I've worked. Maybe once or twice. I work in a pet store. It's a local chain. Like we're not. It's not just a single store. We do. It is a chain. But yeah. So we look out. Black Friday can be big for us, but can also just be an average day too. Nature of that type of business. But anyway, Corin O'Keefe, good long time viewer of ours, asked the question: who would win in a fight, Squirrel Girl versus Aurelia from Dr. Slump? Now this is very odd because because okay, so Squirrel Girl is a mutate. Now a mutate is different than a mutant. Mutants are naturally born with their abilities. Mutates are humans that have been altered to be mutants, I guess is the best way to put it. So they're mutates. They mutated or were mutated, I guess, in terms of terminology. Um, Her abilities really are she has the abilities of a squirrel proportionate to the size of a human. What that means is she's actually very physically strong, agile, a lot of it's in her leg strength. She has the ability to bite through a reinforced steel door. She has squirrel claws that can carve through wood. She's got a healing factor. Um, She's also a skilled hand-to-hand fighter, and she can communicate with squirrels. She's also fourth wall aware. Not excuse me, not to the level of some other characters, but she can talk to the reader. Like she can't, and as far as I know, she can't interact with the reader. Um, but sort of like to a Deadpool or She-Hulk. But she is capable of talking to the reader and is a fourth wall aware. But the thing about Squirrel Girl that everyone brings up, especially in certain, I mean, she did beat straight up Thanos in a fight, which was weird. She shouldn't, by all accounts, be able to do that, but whatever. Um, but she did beat Thanos. But point being is that her greatest ability is actually her communicative skills, or communication skills. She literally has one of the best. She's literally worked for like an interpreter for like the not interpreter, but a negotiator for like the UN for like different planets. She's literally talked down Craven, Galactus of all people. So like her communication skills are through the roof. Aurelia was one of from Doctor Slump was one of Kishimoto's first creations. Um, and she is what is known as a gag character. She technically can do what she's also an android too. She's not human, but she can basically just do whatever the plot demands her to do. Um, so it's basically to say what can she do in a fight. The answer is yes, technically, but even she has limitations to that. When we saw her again in the Dragon Ball Super episode where she and Goku met, and Vegeta said, "A gag character." I mean, she went toe to toe and pretty much matched Super Saiyan Blue Goku, for God's sake. Which means, as a gag character, she's arguably on a universal, if not higher level of power. However, when Beerus got involved, she was completely helpless. They even flat out said, "Yeah, Beerus is way too strong for a gag character to work on him." So she certainly has limitations in terms of physical capabilities and power she can match. There are just characters whose power just completely supersedes it, which is why when I did my Death Battle like winners tournament, when the mask faced off against Beerus wins that fight because gag characters won't affect him at all. So individuals with like Toon Force and things along those lines should be strong enough to take those guys on without any real difficulty. So even like Courage and Scoopy, who we recently saw, because of Hakai, he can pretty much just erase their existence, soul and all. Oh man. Anyway, so with that said, Aurelia does have the limitations, but Squirrel Girl does not have the power level to meet those limitations whatsoever, even with gag character, or so even with her being able to take on someone like Thanos, who, as impressive as Thanos is, Thanos is more than likely on his own without the Infinity Gauntlet weaker than Goku. In fact, I'd almost guarantee he is. If Goku is multiversal at this point, which he probably is, and still weaker than Beerus and leagues below Whis and leagues below Zeno. But he is definitely on the level of multiversal plus. Thanos is not really a multiversal plus. He arguably can go to win multiversal level fighters, but he's not himself a multiversal level threat without his own power. And that's the key difference, I believe. But anyway, so yeah, Squirrel Girl is not going to be able to really do much in the straight out fight with Aurelia. However, let's break it down real quick. How are they fighting? Does it really matter how they're fighting? I guess it's just a matter of how. I mean, I guess it's always fair to try to figure out a scenario where they're fighting. I imagine that's fair. So, I mean, honestly, this could easily be a misunderstanding scenario. I think with characters like these, who are both inherently good people, and not even evil really in any standard way, I imagine it's just a misunderstanding where maybe one of them sees the other doing something that they perceive as, let's call it villainous for the sake of this fight. And they say, hold on, stop. And say, oh, hold on, I'm going to ask you to stop. Now, come with me. It's like, oh, sorry, gotta go. Oh, you know what? Aurelia maybe is delivering a package. And she starts causing some mayhem. Maybe she accidentally knocks over some vehicles or something like that. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry, but I gotta go. And then Squirrel gets involved. It's like, oh, delivers the package. Gotta go. And Squirrel tries to stop her. I said stop. Just hits her. Her head just pops off. Oh, holy crap. And it's like, how are you? And it's like, oh, it popped off. Boop. And then they kind of start fighting. Squirrel Girl starts neatly getting on the losing side of this. No matter what she's doing, Aurelia is not going down. And it's not looking good for Squirrel Girl. However, and this is the big catch here, again, not only are neither of these two villains, they're actually very good people and would probably really get along. Squirrel Girl starts to talk her down and explain what's going on. And Aurelia realizes the confusion and also realizes the mess. You may think, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, that was my mistake. My bad. But and it's like, yeah, look, can we just maybe help fix this? I was like, yeah, let's go help fix. And so the day is saved by Squirrel Girl negotiating with Aurelia, who would be a character who would be very easy to negotiate with. So this is kind of like when Death Battle did the Dr. Wily versus Eggman fight. Who's the winner? In an actual physical altercation where one would just be flat out laid out, it would be Aurelia. But if we're going with the actual, let's say, fight itself, the actual realistic way the fight would play out, Aurelia would be winning, and then Squirrel Girl Squirrel Girl would talk her down and ultimately get her to stop. So, yeah, I guess that means Squirrel Girl would win the fight overall because she does stop the fight from happening. But yeah, I guess I would have to say that's the way it plays out. In a straight out fight, Squirrel Girl, in the realistic way the whole scenario would play out, it would be, in the actual fight itself, it's Aurelia. In a realistic fight, it's Squirrel Girl. Until then, though, who do you got in this fight? Let me know. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.